Wow, it's always rock and roll with that intro. It's so much fun.
Really cool sound.
Yeah, right? All right, so welcome, Jakub. How are you?
I'm quite good, thanks. Busy day, but thankfully it's Friday, so it's Friday night.
Exactly. What is better than a Friday afternoon stream? And after this, well, for me, it's not the last end of the day. I have some meetings, but almost weekend, right?
Sure. We will
All right,
enjoy the weekend for sure.
exactly. So, you just introduce yourself, tell us about where you work, and then also what we're going to talk about today.
Sure. So my name is Jakub, and I am a senior developer at Vue Storefront. This is this logo right here.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And what we do at Vue Storefront is that we are helping our customers, so big businesses, to build the headless commerce websites. So we have our core product, which is called the Vue Storefront, and we have also some other smaller products that accompany the ecosystem, like the Storefront UI, for example, which is the UI library. Apart from that, I'm also an ambassador for Nuxt, Storyblock, and Algolia. And Algolia is the thing that we will also be talking about today.
Exactly.
Yeah. And personally, I'm a huge fan of Lego. So here's my newest set, which is
what is this?
like from Star Wars.
Oh, nice.
And I also have the bigger one here, which is also the mix of two of my favorite hobbies, which is or themes or genres, Transformers and Lego. So
there you go. There's a bunch of cool Transformers Lego stuff out there, right? I think my wife just got like Optimus Prime and she spent like 2 evenings having so much fun. It's crazy.
yeah, this is exactly this model here.
Oh, that is that model. Yeah, okay.
The one here. So
oh, so cool. All right, so let's dive in. So this stream is called Unpack the Stack. And so in this stream, we have a special guest, in this case, Jakub. And we unpack a stack of something that Jakub or the guest has built that they're excited about. And we are both Algolia ambassadors. And we love Algolia stuff. And Jakub has actually made, I think, it's not really the official plugin for Vue for Algolia, but it's not going to take long before it is, because it's actually kind of a module for Nuxt 3 for all the Algolia stuff that you might need, plus a bit more. I think you actually added a bunch of features, right?
Yeah, and hopefully I will be able to tell about them today, even maybe show some code, how it was implemented and how you can use it as well for your projects.
Awesome. So maybe what we can start with is like, what is Algolia anyway? Like, let's start wide. Maybe not everybody in our audience might know what Algolia is. So how do you explain it?
So I'm always saying that Algolia is a service that allows you to search through index or through some kind of a database very efficiently. It works in a similar way, for example, as Elasticsearch for those backend guys who were developing, for example, the backend stuff and wanted to have some very fast searching through the indexes so that they will be able to get the index, for example, of a record in a database faster. So this is like a similar approach, but used quite widely in the front end. So we can just take the search functionality of our application. We can take it from our application and have it as a separate service in Algolia, so that we are just getting the results based on the query we need.
So it's literally just headless search, basically.
Exactly. I would say that this is one of those very popular headless tools that you can use to build your modern website with, like the CMS, like the CRM, things like that.
You can do a lot of fun stuff with it, because we recently integrated it with Uniform, where I work. And we've done it in such a way that you can actually select one item from that index, that database, and then suddenly it becomes like your CMS almost. I'm not sure you want to be doing that, but it's very interesting how you can use it. And so if I say the word index, how do you define that? What is your explanation for an index? I get that question quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. So I would say that the index is like the certain collection of in Algolia they are called hits, so search results. However, I would say that the collection might have records or items basically. So index is a collection of items or records that we want to search through. And Algolia allows us to search through this data structure very efficiently, based on the fact that it's like the key value pairs. So it's quite effective.
Yeah, there's no relational stuff going on. It's just a list of items and it searches in it really efficiently, which is super cool.
Exactly.
And then when you have that, you can add a bunch of services on top, right? They have like Algolia recommend. So this thing looks like that thing, or based on what the customer is doing or the end user, give you that back or something else. Or I think you can even write in like words that are spelled wrong, but when you spell them wrong, they still match. So you can set all that up. That's really, really fun.
You basically just send a request with a keyword or a query, and then you are getting the results that should be the ones that you are looking for, based on your index, based on the recommendations, as you mentioned, because there is also an Algolia recommend that based on, for example, your previous searches, maybe in an e-commerce website, you search for a product and you want to have similar results. This Algolia recommend is able to provide it for you.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've used that before and it works really well. So, what exactly is it that you built?
So, I built a integration module for Nuxt 3 because there was no official module for that. And there was no easy way to actually connect Algolia to Nuxt application. So you had to use the JavaScript client, which is not bad after all.
Yeah.
It's just JavaScript client. But by encapsulating this client into the Nuxt module, you make it easier for Nuxt developers to use this module because you develop it by using similar concepts than as the core framework itself. So, for example, by using composables, which are those functions that are named use something, and this composable handles the logic for certain functionality, for example, searching through the index.
But it also makes whatever comes out of it reactive, right? And I think a vanilla JavaScript API doesn't make something reactive and changeable.
Exactly. So thanks to that, you also have the reactive property of a result that will be updated once you will send another request, for example. So the search result will be updated once you search through it. So you can have a variable that will contain the result of the search. And then you will have, for example, a button that will trigger searching through the index. Every time you will search through it, by using a different query, the result will be updated as well.
Yeah, this
and
is
you don't
really
have to
handy.
take care of it.
Yeah, because out of the box with React that's I think they built that, but maybe I'm just wondering, for Vue 2 and Nuxt 2, did they make a module as well? Or
no, they were using the JS client, but right now they have docs. Algolia have docs for both Vue and Nuxt, with also the support for server-side rendered application with instant search, and we will be talking about instant search today for sure. But they both are for Nuxt 2, and I'm currently contacted the Algolia team to, let's say, link my documentation there so that new users who are coming to official Algolia talks could be redirected to the docs of my module so that they can use the most up-to-date approach to using Algolia with Nuxt 3.
So would you mind sharing your screen and maybe giving a little demo just in a browser of how it works?
Sure. So I think it's ready right now. You can share. I will show you the documentation first, just to get you a little bit more familiar with what the module does for you,
Mm-hmm.
what you can get out of it and get from it, and basically how it works. So as this is it's not official Algolia module, but it's official Nuxt module. That's why
All
you're
right.
installing it with
Semantics.
using at Nuxt.js/Algolia.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a cool naming convention that shows you that this module is supported by the Nuxt community as well.
Exactly.
So by using this module, what you get is a list of those cool things here that I would just try to summarize. So basically, you get the composables. I mentioned about them a while ago, and that are pretty handy, quite useful, and quite in a view-free / Nuxt-free way. So it's easy for you to jump into it and just
basically,
start
they're like
doing stuff.
Yeah,
Sorry?
it's like quick functions that you don't need to know how they work; they just work, kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Like lovely. Yeah, I like those.
So you have also support for Vue Instance Edge components. So by just almost all of the functionalities here are enabled or can be enabled just with a single line of configuration. So basically with Vue Instance Edge, you can say Instance Edge true or Instance Edge with a certain theme, because Vue Instance Edge allows you to select a theme like the CSS styling. And same for Algolia recommend, same for indexing, things like that. You just use one single line of configuration and it just works for you.
Nice. And so before we go on, can you explain what instant search is?
Yeah, sure. So basically I will go with get started and go to Vue Instance Search here, because in here I believe okay, we don't have actually the link to official docs of the Algolia, but we can just search.
You can likely just Google it.
Search for problems with typing on stream. So Vue Instance Search is a set of components that were created specifically for handling search functionality. It can be a search bar, it can be a whole category page, for example, for e-commerce, where you will have the results of each product with a search bar. And probably if we scroll down, there should be, a demo, something like this. So for example, this stuff here, they can be implemented or they can be imported from the Vue Instance Search library, so that you get this kind of design basically without coding.
They basically
anything.
just build import the things for you. You don't have to build your own search. They just said like, there you go. This now works as faceted search, because it's actually really hard to build search, right? So it's pretty cool that they did this.
I would say that apart from just implementing it in HTML, CSS and stuff, there are also cases that you should take care of, like, for example, debouncing. So whenever you have a search bar and someone is typing, you shouldn't be sending a request to Algolia or any other search service every time a user is pressing a key, because that way you will be sending like thousands of requests while user will be just searching for one keyword.
Exactly.
So those kind of things are handled automatically by Vue Instance Search.
Okay, and so you have integrated that as well. So if you were just to use the Nuxt 3 module and you say instant search is true, you don't have to do that much, right?
We just need to pass the theme. So we want to use the official Algolia theme, which is this one here, I believe. And next thing what we need to do is just to import those components, just like this. And just pass into the IES, which is the Algolia Instance Search, like prefix. We only need to pass the index name and the search client as well. Search client will be, we can get with the usage of another composable from this module that has the reference to this original JavaScript Algolia SDK. And this index name is just the name of the index that we want to search through. In my case, it could be just test index.
All right, that's actually really cool. And so that Vue Instant Search package that you have, like on that import line, that exists because your module uses it as like a pair dependency or something?
Yeah, exactly. It's also better to just know what components are you importing, because it would be able to just import all of them into the module, but I'm sure that even if you decide to use the instant search everywhere across your application, you won't be using all components available.
No, exactly.
So that is why I decided to just allow users to select what kind of components they like.
That makes sense because I do use them as well on my own website, and they are pretty big. Like I remember adding just this. I used an instant search, like a type ahead field, like an input box on the homepage of my website, and I think the performance went down from 99 points in Lighthouse to like 80 because it's so much extra stuff that they load. And of course, when you put something like this on your website, it's a dedicated search page, then it's fine because people expect it. But on your homepage, that makes not so much sense. So it's cool that you can choose how much you show of it and when and where and stuff.
Sure. So this is one of the features. Another, which is kind of interesting, is the doc search. I'm sure that you have seen doc search almost anywhere
I think
on the
all the
documentation
docs
websites.
I know have it. I think.
So for example, if we go to Nuxt free docs right now, but not this one, the second one, I believe, Nuxt.com. So this is like the documentation of a new Nuxt free version. If you go to docs, and in here you will see the search. This is exactly doc search.
Yeah.
And to give you more context, this doc search is actually coming from the module I created. So if you inspect in View Telescope here, you will see this Nuxt.js Algolia module.
Very
cool. This website is using the module that I created. So, and this doc search is actually the doc search from our docs right here.
And so do you have doc search on your own docs? I guess not.
Because not really, because there is not as many documents to search through.
Exactly.
It's, as you can see here, it's only like 10 documents or 10 pages. So there was no need for implementing that. But for Nuxt, yes, the need was like huge
they have a lot
to have doc search. And I'm using it on a daily basis to search through doc search, not by scanning the whole website and searching through it.
And so how does doc search work? Do they like index your markdown files or something?
So basically what this does, it still connects to the index. So if you take a look at this configuration of the module, you will see that we need to pass the index name that the doc search will be able to search through. So it doesn't, by default, it doesn't scan your local project or crawl your local project. Instead, it can search through the index of Algolia search.
So you do have to provide your own index somehow.
Yes, but frankly, it's not that difficult. And thanks to that, we can swiftly move on to the next feature which I wanted to talk about, which is the indexer. So for now, I only provide the Storyblock indexer, but I'm fully open for contributions in this module. So if you'd like to see similar functionality, it's like the project is open, so you can do it for sure, and I will provide you any help needed. So how this indexer works is that it takes the data from a certain source, in this case from Storyblock, and it can populate the Algolia index with this data. So how it looks like is that whenever we add, for example, a new page or a new record in our CMS, in this case Storyblock, and we will have this webhook configured, it will automatically, thanks to this implemented functionality of indexer, it will automatically update the Algolia index so that whenever we add a new record in CMS, it will also be available in Algolia so that we can search through it.
So where does this webhook go exactly?
It will go to the endpoint that is automatically registered in your Nuxt app if you decide to enable the indexer.
Very cool.
So it's like the /API/indexer. And it will also have a secret because we don't want to allow regular users to index our content without our knowledge.
Be honest. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I wouldn't say that this is like a huge security improvement, but it's something.
It's better than no secret, because imagine if we DDoS this, it's going to be very expensive for your Algolia account.
Exactly.
So if I wanted to add, let's say, Prismic or or whatever, contentful or something? How would I do that?
So for that, maybe we could just jump to the code to see how it works actually. So I have here the code for the actual module itself. So we have the docs that we've seen previously. We have the playground if you'd like to test it out. It has several use cases here. So the usage of depth search, the usage of instant search, the usage of like the regular search, and we also have the search for facet values, and recommend, the other feature you mentioned.
Yeah.
So in case of the indexer, how it works is we need to go here and into server and story block. So this API endpoint is actually here. We have this event handler, and this event handler will be API, but not story block, because we are doing in the module itself, we are doing the mapping right here. So it's actually API indexer. It's what I showed you in the docs.
Exactly, but you just gave it a custom, and this CMS provider actually comes from your config, right?
Yes, exactly. This is the config that was shown here as well. So we have story block, secret, Algolia admin API key, index name, and access token. So in here, we won't see that much code, because this is like the small package that I have created for indexing Algolia with the content from story block. But actually, this package that I have created is based on the official documentation or official blog post on Storyblock about populating Algolia index with the data from Storyblock. So if we search Storyblock, this is actually my article as well, but it's based on another Storyblock article. In here, I believe there will be just the same what we seen in the code. Let me just quickly scroll through it. Yeah, so we have the same approach.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But it should be somewhere here a link, or not. Maybe I'll just search Storyblock.
Always type storybook first, man.
How to index entries from Storyblock with
there we go.
Algolia. I think this is it. So this is the code. So we won't be going through each line. There is a lot of things. But basically what it does is just gets the data from Storyblock, from like the regular approach, how you are fetching the data from Storyblock, initializing the index, and just then, where is it? I think it's here. It saves the objects. So fetches the data from Storyblock and saves the objects in Algolia. So there are many things here that were added just to make the data structure look a bit better in Algolia. So it's much easier to search. It's much easier searchable. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but
I understood it.
Like that.
It's fine. We're both not native, so it's fine.
Exactly. So basically, there are only a few steps. So getting the data from the source, initializing index, and then just saving the new objects in Algolia.
I've written code like this many, many times, because I always make my own API endpoint to get my stuff from all different CMSs and enrich whatever, and then push it to Algolia. I think every website that has Algolia, for me, I do that. So it's nice that you made it into a package. So if I now wanted to add, let's say, Prismic, do I need to make a pull request to your module, or can I just extend it somehow myself?
You can make a pull request, but you can also extend it as well, because the indexer, like the approach for indexing, is the same for any source. So you would need to have this kind of a endpoint, API endpoint. That's is very easy to do with Nuxt application. You don't need any package for it. And just inside of it, what you need is to do those 3 steps. So fetch the data from one source. So in your case, from Prismic, then initialize the index of Algolia and just save the objects. But one important thing here to note is, in order to do that, you have to get another API token from, or API key from Algolia, because Algolia
Oh yeah, it's an
has
admin key or something. It's different, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have
sure,
two
sure.
kind of tokens. One which is a search token, which just allows you to search through the data, and you have the admin token that allows you to also populate the data. So with the first one, you can just read the data, but with the second, you can do like write operations. So
Oh, cool,
adding,
cool. Yeah.
updating, removing. So that's why I always prefer to have this kind of functionality as an API endpoint, which is on the, let's say, backend part of your application, not on the front end, because this is like quite destructive method.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we have about half an hour left. How
Mm-hmm.
about I share my screen
Mm-hmm.
and then I will show you something I built with your module. And then
Mm-hmm.
after that, how about we start from scratch and you just guide me through it basically. I think that would be
Sure.
fun, right?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Chrome tab window entire screen. Oh, this has changed. That's fine. Can you see the screen?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet, because I am the admin. How about that? Here we go. There we go. So I've built this system here, and I'm doing a bunch of different things with Algolia, and it's almost all through your module, but not all of it exactly. Because at the time I was building this, you didn't have a bunch of SSR related stuff, which you do have now, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But like all this data, these lists are coming from Algolia, and in this case, these are actually server rendered.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't have any personalization data, because this website personalizes to your interest, like Vue 3 or Nuxt 3 or anything, but if we just clear it completely and refresh, this list is actually this is your module. And this is
Mm-hmm.
basically just query 3 random things that fit my profile the best from Algolia. And so this is using yours.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we go here, for example, this is your module with Algolia index search, instant search.
Mm-hmm.
So all the stuff I just CSS'd it, but it's working extremely well. And when you actually go to one of those, this is Algolia recommend. So you can actually see the similarity of the ones that are shown here. The thing is, this one is SSR again. So based on whatever this object ID is, these things are shown. And there's one last bit I want to show you where we also use Algolia, which is kind of fun in a different way. So this is not using your module because this is quite advanced. I think now it might be possible to do it with this. But what it's doing is it's looking at the interests I have. So if I say I have a big interest in media and I update my profile, you see this Algolia search directly change. So this is the cool reactiveness of Vue.js, right? If I reset, it queries directly again and something else comes up. Or if I say data fetching, it updates it directly. And so this kind of personalization comes from Uniform. And so this is not Algolia personalization. So this is third-party personalization, which is then sent to the Algolia index and then retrieve certain things. And so all these like interests and complexities, they are actually facets inside Algolia. So that works ridiculously well. And it's really fun because without your module, this would not have existed, I think. So that's
It's
cool,
always
right?
great to see how people are using the code you write.
Yeah, and also you're always probably surprised that people use your code in a way you didn't expect, which is, I
Exactly.
guess, how like this is such a different approach to using it, but why not, right? So I think if we wanted to start from scratch, let's just go to your docs and just do it, right? Let's make a new website. Oh,
It's not that. It's
but
Algolia
why is
website. So
Algolia giving me a 5? This is algolia.com from a
I
Google
think this
search
is the
result.
flashback to what we had last
My
time when we
God,
were
we
doing the
had
live
this
stream.
before. Remember, we had this before, but we have to go here.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is the module itself.
All right.
And quite recently, because actually on Monday, I released a new version of
Oh, cool.
this module with the support for better support actually for the server-side rendering functionality. So fetching the
nice.
search results on the server, because there might be also scenarios and cases where you would prefer to fetch the results on the server and just send a pure HTML to the browser.
This is sometimes what you want. Like in my project that we were just looking at, that is important because it's all rendered on the edge, and I don't need JavaScript for that, right?
Exactly. I'm still in a process or in progress of adding this functionality to view instant search as well, because the view instant search works quite differently in terms
it's all
of the
client
Algolia
focused,
itself.
right?
Yeah, exactly. The library is mainly client focused. It is possible to have the components get the data in the SSR and display them there. However, what I wanted to say is that in order to make it work with view instant search, you need to create a certain mixin, like the server. It's called the server root mixin, that will get the data. Yeah, it will get the data from Algolia, and then it will populate or hydrate those components on the fly with the data that was dynamically fetched from Algolia, so that then you can just display the HTML itself.
Yeah, so that will take a second, I guess.
Yeah, sure. So
meanwhile, I'm just installing all your
one
stuff.
of the cool recommendations or improvements recently is that you might already see them. You don't need to pass the API key and application ID to the module itself, to this modules array, because previously
so I just need to do
you
this?
had to, this one. And as in the docs, you need those two environment variables.
Oh, that's very clean. This is it, done.
Yeah, exactly.
Magical.
This is the inspiration key is coming from the Strapi module for Nuxt, which also has it like this. But in order to make it work, you would also need, I think, your credentials.
Oh, so these ones are not real?
They are just for the example. So
but we can do that.
Yeah.
Let's just see what's happening here. Let's just remove Nuxt welcome. Oh, yeah. Will this work?
Yeah, it should work, but in order, it should work just like this. However, what you see here are the two approaches.
Yes, exactly.
The first one, which you are already familiar with, which is the using the use Algolia search composable and passing a index as a param, and then on mounted or basically on at click or any other event, just trigger the searching. However, there is also.
Sorry? I'll just log in. Sorry, continue. Then I can use my own stuff.
Sure. So the other approach that was introduced recently is the new composable that allows you to fetch the results on the server side. So it's called use async Algolia search.
Oh, cool.
And this is the one that you commented below. So it's okay. Maybe let's focus first.
Let's see if this one is working, and then we do the other one. But I need to change this now, otherwise it's not going to happen.
Exactly. So it will be on the left side, bottom left. Yes, here API keys, and in here you have application ID.
I think I just need to have like the search only one.
Yes, exactly. The admin one is for the indexing.
I might need to restart just to be safe.
Yeah, and what is it?
Something with value. We'll check that in a
let's
sec.
go to the code. Can you go to the code?
Actually not building. Okay. Yeah, it's this one.
Yeah. So can you just go with the data.hits instead? Exactly. You also get the autocomplete because it imports the types of. Okay, you also need the question mark on the data because this is like the reactive data. So at the first it doesn't load.
Wow.
So you need right here.
How about we do something like this? Maybe we can see a little bit more. Okay, so that worked. Yeah, because
So
this
you
is the
have
thing.
a lot
Sometimes
of
there
data.
are no hits, so that's why
Yeah,
we need this.
exactly. At
Yeah.
first, you don't have any hits. They are populated once
Oh,
the
of
request
course.
is back.
This, dear viewers, is reactiveness. Data is
Mhm.
empty by default, it exists, but then, of course, there are no hits. And then it populates itself by being reactive. So that's what this is. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of, there's not that many, but more than enough. That's pretty cool. So, shall we just search for something like this? Oh, yeah, the responsive image. There you go. One result. Oh, this is pretty cool. I'm just once in a while switching back here, and we have Daniel. So I just put Daniel on here, and now move it again. Sorry for the inception. All right, so this is pretty cool. So how about let's do the async stuff.
Mhm. Sure. So for that, we can comment this part and just focus on the second one. So as data, because initially what this use async Algolia search does is that it wraps the use async data, which you probably are familiar with from the Nuxt ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly.
And inside of this use async data, it will trigger the searching, but on the server side. So what
And
will
there it is.
happen? You can also check it out in the network tab if you inspect this. And if you go to network and just reload the page, you will see that there will be no request, but I think you have to filter through fetch XHR to see.
Oh, yeah. So there's literally no Ajax call now.
Yeah, so there is
Oh, I
no
like
call
this.
content.
So this is just rendered by Nitro in Nuxt 3, basically.
Exactly. So you have
Nice.
access to those search results on the server, and you are just sending a pure HTML to the front end.
Let's see what else we can do, because I think that view instance search is pretty interesting here. Right, so shall we just do one of those?
Yeah, sure.
Let's add it. Oh, now I have to do this, right? Oh.
So yeah, Algolia.
Oh, I don't need to do this. I can just do it like this.
An object.
It should be enough, because we don't have, these ones are in already normally.
Yeah. So if you go back to the documentation, let me just quickly see, or maybe we will see, because I'm not sure if the instance search will get the data from the environment variables. It should,
exactly.
but we will see.
Yeah, that makes sense. These need to be here. Oh, it doesn't seem to have it.
It should have them. It may not have it at this time, because you need to reload the application to let it know that you're using instant search. But if not, we can always install them as well. So let's change the index to the one that you are using.
We use this one. Let's just restart. And so maybe now the Nuxt folder is repopulated somehow, and then it will know. I'm waiting for it to start, but it just starts instantly. It's just crazy. Oh, there it is already.
So you see. So if we go to the code, it will probably now say that it's okay. Oh, it doesn't.
Wait.
So
I think I might have to reopen this file. No, it doesn't like it somehow. But then when I click on it, it just finds it.
Yeah, so not sure why it's shouting, but it's probably
there's something with TypeScript
declaration, I think.
It's some TypeScript stuff going on. We need to actually add the view instance search types to it, it seems.
It's strange. I think it depends on the configuration of the IDE, because I was testing on my laptop and my friend's laptop, and it was okay.
Okay.
Not sure why.
I'm assuming this is perfect. How about that?
I would say that it works on my machine.
Oh, I like that. That's why they invented Docker, didn't they?
But we can check in the browser how this instance search works. So if you go to the search and just try to search for something, this will be automatically updated as well. So I believe this is what you are using in your website, right?
Yeah, it's basically this. I just didn't put the writing one, but I just have this, and then it's the same thing. But maybe we can actually add one of those. Do you have some docs for I don't know what the name is for the other one that we need.
I think we would have to go to official docs. I just added an example there, how to use it, but there should be a list of available components for view instance search.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is it.
You have on the right the copy button as well.
Oh, I am slow, as always. And then the attribute is
and you will also need to get this import this component from.
Oh, I have to import it. You're totally right.
So it's AIS refinement list.
There we go. Oh, it's so easy. And what other theme do you have? Do you have that in TypeScript so I can just start typing?
Yes.
Ah, there we go. Nice, dude.
There is
Good
another,
work.
it's satellite, and the reset should be like those styling or like very basic styling. So these are the predefined styles, and you can always style it the way you like.
This is what I like. Oh, this is very solid. And it even gives you like which index it is and stuff. And this is very solid and so easy to use. So I have Algolia recommend installed on my instance. Shall we try to add some recommend?
Yeah, sure. So if we go to the documentation and go to, I think it's configuration or the usage. I think the usage. If you go, we need to add this as well to the to our configuration of the module. So recommend true, and to the usage. And in the usage, there is a composable called use Algolia recommend.
Nice. I'm just gonna copy paste this and see what happens.
So as a result, it's the same as it was with use Algolia search. So get is a method to fetch the data, and result is the reactive property that will display, that will be populated with the data from the get method. So basically from Algolia recommend.
Oh yeah, you have to give it the object ID, but that's cool. We can do that. Oh, the model. I think I have related products also as a model for mine. Let's go.
I think there are two unavailable. It's related products, and I don't remember the second one.
Yeah, these are the I think there's I have related products, as you can say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There is a way to actually check that out. Oh. And I think I need to figure out what is actually my object
The
ID.
object ID.
Oh yeah, there
so
it is.
I
Let's
believe
just do this one.
Yeah, something like this.
Okay, so now it should find everything about probably like whatever this hybrid rendering is, it will find us others that fit that idea. Okay, so let's see what this gave us. There's like a score of 70 for client only in Next. And then there is a score of 50, which is query from an external API. And then a score of 34 for responsive images. Yeah, that should be pretty low. But dude, this works. Very cool. And do you have this one also working on the SSR?
And haven't tried it yet, because recently the requirement was for the search functionality itself.
Yeah, sure.
You know, the issues tab is open for feature requests, so make sure to post it, and I will take a look at it.
I'm seeing unmounted running here, so that's definitely not server there.
Exactly. There's also a case that I needed to handle on Algolia search to make it work with the SSR, is that in order to fetch those results on the server, you need to have a different transporter. This is like the plugin or the package that Algolia search is using to fetch the data. So they have support for Node transporter and for HTTP transporter, like browser
cool.
HTTP. So in order to make it work for the server and make it work very similar to the current Algolia Search, I needed to dynamically change the transporter so that once you prefer to have it on the server, you will be using this Node transporter.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will be using the browser one.
It's never easy, right? But it's very flexible. Once you get it,
Exactly.
it's awesome. And then you have someone like you to make a module, so we don't have to think about it. That's kind of how it works in Nuxt world. And we have Daniel and Puya to thank for that. I think Daniel, hopefully, is still in the chat, but thanks for that, guys. So we're nearing the end of our stream because actually I have a meeting. So there we go. Is there any last stuff you might want to share with people?
Yeah, if you liked the Algolia module, I have also another module that me and Tim will probably take a look at quite soon.
Definitely.
Which is about the security. So the module that will help you basically build more safer applications, Next applications. So this module, this security module, will provide you with security headers, such as the popular Express.js Helmet middleware works like, and also additional middlewares for example, rate limiting, like cross-site scripting protection, and so on and so on. But I don't want to spoil everything today, so I will just give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what we'll probably be
I just
talking
put one
about.
of your blog posts about it on here. So that doesn't
Exactly.
actually show the module, but you can at least read this about whatever you made. So, and lastly, where can people find you?
For sure on Twitter with this Twitter handle, right?
Yeah, I always have to.
It's always difficult.
There, no, I still cannot do it, but there you go.
It's the opposite. So at Jakub Andrzejewski for sure on Twitter. Also on GitHub, where I'm very active in terms of the open source stuff. At GitHub, I'm called @Baroshem. It's different name, but
you're gonna have
if
to
you
type
will
it to
find
me in
me
the
on
private
Twitter,
chat.
I will.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Go to Twitter. You'll find his GitHub name.
Exactly.
That's easier than me trying to type it now. All right. Thank you so much, dude, for your time. It's always lovely to chat with you and to see all the cool stuff you're building. So yeah, thank you very much. And I hope to see you soon. And let's do one of those Tim Tries streams soon, like probably like after a few Amsterdam, where we try out your security module. I'm excited for that one. All right. Cheers, man. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. See you next time.